Good evening. Welcome. Today, we're going to relax and try to figure out some things. One thing that we're trying to figure out is why we always hear the name Elon Musk. Who is he? Just who is he? We hear all these genius stories. We hear about how he is the richest man in the world. He is the richest man in the world. And we see him jump up and down and get very excited. He buys this, he buys that. He's in everyone's face. Everybody knows him. Everyone knows him. And he knows that he has megabucks. Now, some of us know people with lots of money, and they have certain peculiarities. So today, in our reading, we will ask the Spirit to help guide us through to find out who is Elon Musk. We know he's a man. He's 50-something years old. He has 11 children, 3 different babies' mommies. And his eldest is a trans female. And he always has an opinion. And he's always spoken about almost every single day, all over the world. And you wonder, gee, is this marvelous person real, or how can I be like this, or what? Well, let's start by finding out just who he is. Elon Musk was born in South Africa, Pretoria. And he said he grew up poor, which gives him the strength to be smart and vital and energetic. Okay. Well, a lot of people grow up poor and they don't turn out, the poverty never did too much for them, except made them have a lot of hungry nights, I suppose. And some people were poor, but they never discussed it. But Elon wasn't exactly poor. His father owned an emerald mine. An emerald mine. In fact, the father used to brag, "We have so much cash, we can't even close our safe." It doesn't that conflict with like Elon saying he grew up poor and his father was bragging that he had so much money he couldn't even close the safe? That's a pretty good scratch. At least, okay. And then he said, that's quite it. And then the fact that when he was a teenager, he said he didn't have any money. So how did this poor rich boy get by? Well, the stories go, he traded emeralds for cash. So maybe he didn't have a $10 bill, but he certainly had a couple $1,000 emeralds in his pockets. So that's the way it goes. When he was a teenager, he was using emeralds instead of fiat money. He was using the real stuff, even back then. Hi, how are you? Hello. Yes, we're finding out who Elon Musk is. Is he a real guy? He's the richest man in the world, and he's everywhere. He's supposed to be such a genius. And how has this genius been kept so quiet for so long? And all of a sudden he just pops up and he's a genius. Genius. And then we find out that he's not born poor. He was born super rich. His father owns, as I mentioned, an emerald mine. Anyway, let's move on from his teenage days. He graduated from Penn, and he got a full scholarship. Now, scholarship usually goes to those who are needy or brainy or both. Now, he got a full scholarship, but while he was there, he with another one of his friends, bought a 10-bedroom frat house. They bought it. He's on full scholarship. He bought it. and they turned it into a nightclub. A nightclub. You got to give it to him. He certainly knows how to have fun. And then he got accepted to Stanford after he had the full ride at Penn. And he brags, he says, my IQ is 155. Okay. 155. He was at Stanford. He got accepted to Stanford. I'm going to leave that quiet. And then he didn't even last 2 days. He dropped out. Well, if he's so rich, what does he need to go to Stanford for, right? He doesn't need it. And he said, that's what he said. I don't need it. So he just quit. And then he says how the first company he founded with his brother. He didn't have any money from his dad. Daddy didn't give him anything. But privately, Dad did give him quite tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of USD, dollars. And it was a digital Yellow Pages. It was a digital Yellow Pages. And it was coded by Elon, who, to get it sold, they had to hire a whole team to redo the whole thing because the code was so bad. All right. And they sold it for quite a lot of money, $300 plus million. They sold that thing for, of which it was a business failure to whom they sold it. So they weren't able to use it. And then, Elon got about 22 million from that sale. See how it goes? And then that's what he put his money into. He put his money then into this business called, like, we think of Twitter X as being the first time we have the X. Elon Musk is excited about the letter X. Well, he had a business called X.com. X.com, of which looks like an online bank. And then he claims, now during this period, backtracking, he claims that he founded Pen Pal. Well, Pen Pal in those days was known as something else. I think it's commonality, something like that. Anyway, they are the ones that bought his business after, of course, the code was cleaned up. And they were like, they didn't quite get along very well, the founders of this community. And so they voted, the two people that bought the company, they voted to get rid of him, sell him out. So they came to a secret agreement in which they wouldn't mention who founded the company. In the meantime, and so he was given a certain amount of money, and the original people went on to Peter Thiel. We've heard about Peter Thiel, he's a big fan of J.D. Vance. He went on to change the company's name to PayPal, of which Elon takes credit of being a founder of which there's nothing on record of that. It's not the case. Not the case. So we see a lot of he said, I do, he said, I do. And it's who? What? You're confusing me. You're confusing. So and Peter Thiel, of course, he sold that to eBay. So, they all know each other. They all do business and stuff. That's the way it's done. That is the way it's done. So, we see that how he got his money. He started out rich. He was able, with his father's help, to wheel and deal. And there's really no point in him doing actual coding because, he can just hire the best. But to say that Elon himself is quite an engineering genius seems to be a stretch. Of course, a lot of developers, a lot of programmers, if you could just talk the talk, they get so excited. And apparently that's one thing Elon Musk can do. He can talk the talk. He can talk the talk. In fact, he scratches things a bit. He is a very animated person. So yeah, I'll give him that. Elon Musk is a very animated, excitable person. Again, you can see him the way he was jumping up and down for Trump before Trump won. And he's a good backer. As long as he gets his piece of the pie, that's the whole thing. So, but his exuberance is amazing. But the whole thing is like to say that Elon Musk is exceptionally brilliant. I think that's a scratch. That's a scratch. That's a scratch. And this is something that he is allowed to have that platform. His ego and therefore his funding requires that type of enthusiasm, that type of like copy, that type of script, that type of script. So now we know that Elon Musk is a whole lot of what he isn't. And he's not a self-made man. He invests in certain things, and he has secret agreements. And then you got to think about the background. He comes from like an emerald mining, extremely wealthy father. Now his father has been called a pedo person, pedophiliac, pedo. In fact, he's called a pedo for specific reasons. His stepdaughter, who is 42 years older than his stepdaughter, he has impregnated her. His cat has his child. That is the main reason. This is a very, very strange background. And this is very, very strange mix between Trump, who he has his business, but he does have the aura or the facade of a certain nature. Whereas Elon doesn't even bother. He doesn't even bother putting these cutesy things together like that. So we have here that he isn't extremely smart. He's not, first of all, he never was poor. He's a rich boy. He's a very rich boy. And he's not a genius. But he is clever. He is clever. Now, is this his cleverness? His talent? His ability to seize the moment. Let's find out what is going to use the dragon cards. What is Elon Musk's true talent? Is it the ability to seize opportunities, to seize the moment, to arm twisting? What is his abilities? What is his genius? It's not IQ. It's not what we think it is. It's not what he's touted as having, as being. So let's take a few cards and let's find out this man that's going to be influencing our government, this South African born, he is an African, this African born, whose person just seems rather strange, doesn't he? Who is in our government everywhere, in our news everywhere. Here's a man who's gotten his money through dad. First thing we have here is the King of Swords. The King of Swords. Well, we certainly have a lot of direct communication coming from him, a lot of direct conversation coming from him. And look at this dragon, grinning. It's quite the dragon, isn't it? Now we know Elon Musk, one thing we can be assured that the money he's gotten from Tesla, SpaceX, especially SpaceX, comes from us, the taxpayers. He's a fabulous, brilliant government contractor. That's what he is. And then we have the Knight. We have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups. So we can almost say he throws copy out there and then, like, that's it. I mean, that's it. He just throws messages out and we wait and see. He just lets it be. This is what I am. And because he has so much money, he can get mouthpieces to speak whatever he wants to speak and shut up whomever he wishes to shut up. And is it really anybody's business when you have the most money in the world? And here, this is an upside down tower. The tower. We're going to take it. Upside down tower. We're going to take it both ways. We're going to take this as like, this could be, he is used to things imploding and exploding. He's used to tumultuous scenes. He is not stable. I would say the real Elon Musk is not a stable person, which is why, I mean, you could say that's why his mother is always accompanying him. However, I have nothing but praise if you can stand your family and you like your family to hang out with your family. I have nothing but praise for that. I'm into strong family ties myself. However, Elon there's so much of his reputation is built on stories. And it's hard to make stories when you are right there and your story plots are they don't match up. The plot, the characters, the end, the beginning and the end, it's confusing. And here we have the Four of Cups. It's almost like they put something out. They give you a bounce of this can change, that can change, this can change, that could change. And then they wait for your reaction to see how you're going to take it. Now, most people know that, he has so much money, so that keeps people from calling him names. Because who wants to get on the bad side of the richest man in the world? And here we have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. Just what I said. Who wants to get on the bad side of the richest man in the world, which is why he's allowed to say whatever. I grew up poor. I'm a scholarship student, a grad. I did this, I did that. I got accepted because of my brilliance in Stanford. I started Tesla company, which he did not. Some other people started it. He simply bought into it, and that's how that started. And we also know that brilliant decisions are given to him. Why? Because he has because he has a lot of money, because he has his perception of being. The perception of being. Then you have to ask yourself: is the perception of being better than the reality of facts? That's a strange kind of thing to say, isn't it? But who is this man? Is this man a fraud and a liar? It's been said. Is this man a genius? It's been said. But then again, he talks too much. He talks too much about what he does. Who could do all those things? And it's obviously provable that he did not do most of the things that he said he did. What is his magic? There's 3 cards. What is the magic behind him? We have here the 4 vessels. The 4 of Cups. Again, the same thing here, the 4 of Cups. He has the timeline. He has a timeline of everybody saying, well, wait and see. Like, how long can you have a tumultuous situation? He's like Jello. He's like, moves. He vibrates. He vibrates a lot. And we have the 8 of Swords. This could be a dangerous situation having a man who has such stories, such narratives. But yet, does it click? Does it click with our own sense of adventure that we cannot have? And here we have the defender. We have the defender. Well, the money, I see the money being the biggest obstacle to being able to find out or even talk about the reality of who he really is, because it could be a dangerous situation and it's just a matter of time before he implodes or you implode. It's because of his money, his wealth, of being assumed of he has so much money that he could buy and say anything, and it dares you. You're being dared to even open up. However, such a situation that breeds a lot of money and with a lot of attitude, it cannot be contained. It cannot be contained. It cannot be contained, which again gives you the situation of the towers. No matter if the tower implodes or explodes, you have a situation that is ticking. So I would say Elon Musk, besides being very strange and very unique in his own sense of narratives, of storytelling, he's getting more than he can handle. He's getting more than he can effectively handle. And it's only a matter of time before Elon is pinched. 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 That's what I see. The real Elon Musk comes from a shaky background. Shaky because he's always been able to satisfy himself by any type, any means, any time, anything. And he's used to doing deals. Deals. You see, he knows the power of money. So much consumed with the power of money, some part of him, his empathetic part, just like when his empathy is questionable. His empathy, almost a sneer for people who were poor, who are poor, who did go and get their degrees or educational scholarships, etc. It's almost like a slap in the face. That's the trouble with having a billionaire, so many billionaires on board. They didn't get that rich by being nice guys. No. They didn't get that rich by being nice or accommodating. What do you think? What do you think about Elon Musk? He's not the genius. He's super rich. He's not the bravest man in the world. Even, in fact, there's a story that goes on. He often says his first child, he held his child while he was dying in his arms. Not so. His wife held the child while he was away. He wanted no part. The story is his wife says, I held the child. I held the child until the child died. And then Elon makes a story of how he held the child. He was nowhere to be found. He had no phone calls, no nothing. He wasn't interested. See, one thing about Elon, his empathy is something we should really watch out. Someone so rich without empathy and storytelling, because it's cute, because it makes him the man of the moment, the person of the moment. Those are the things we have to question. Why can this cabinet survive? Money, 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 money. Money, people get tired of money. Be quiet with your money. All right, so that's a question that we have like diffused. We know that he is not a genius. We know that he is super rich. Elon Musk, well, now that he's under the radar for different things and he's in all our faces every single day, we can question, why is this person writing about how fabulous he is? Why can't he just do his job? And why can't he be more empathetic? That's what we know. All right, until next time. Until next time. And for my subscribers, I hope you have any interest, any comments. Please comment, please share. And to those of you who haven't subscribed, please give a comment, thumbs up. If you find this interesting, because I mean, who is this man, Elon Musk? Rich, and not empathetic. And he has different stories. There's different stories about him around. And you can welcome to go and check anything I've said. I'm sure you'll find even more. There's even more to say about him. If you do a little digging, everything is online. Everything is there. So no matter, he can't scrub the entire episodes out, but he can certainly have secret agreements going on. But the point is, we have this man who is in charge of becoming an official for us. This person. So we'll have to see. Thank you very much. Until the next time.